You became a UX designer because you wanted to change lives. You wanted to fight for the user and solve real human problems. What you actually signed up for was explaining for the 47th time why putting 19 buttons on the homepage might be a bit much. Your alarm goes off at 6:45 a.m. You wake up in a panic, already late for a job that will slowly eat your soul pixel by pixel. You grab the clothes on your chair, which at this point has become your unofficial second dresser, and get ready as fast as you can. Breakfast? Absolutely not. Just vibes and caffeine. You get to the office by 8:30. A mid-level e-commerce company whose entire design philosophy can be summed up as make it pop. You slide into your chair, open your laptop, and the first thing you see is a message from the product manager. Hey, can you just whip up some quick designs for this new feature we're launching on Friday? It is Tuesday. You ask what the feature does. They say, we're still figuring that out. You inhale deeply, open Figma, and prepare to guess your way through another vague task that somehow needs to look modern and feel like Apple but on a budget. Your design file is already in chaos. Half your components are broken. The devs refuse to use the latest version, and someone just duplicated your entire flow and named it final for real new v5. At 10 a.m., you are in the daily team meeting. You, the project manager, two devs, a marketing guy, and someone from sales who still thinks wireframes are just unfinished web pages. The PM shares the latest analytics and confidently concludes that users don't like clicking. You suggest doing a usability test to understand why. They nod slowly, then immediately pivot to asking if you can redesign the navigation to feel more exciting. By 11:30, you are meeting with a stakeholder who has printed out your prototype and is pointing at it with a highlighter. They ask why the Buy Now button isn't red. You say red usually signals danger. They say, well, Coca-Cola's red. You stare into the middle distance and briefly fantasize about trying your luck in politics and get to boss people around while doing nothing. You finally return to your desk to find 12 new comments on your latest mockup. They range from, can this feel more premium? To, what if the login page just didn't exist? You read them all, sigh deeply, and begin the ancient ritual of pixel pushing based on non-designers' gut instincts. Lunchtime arrives. Technically, in reality, you are hunched over your desk, eating cold noodles and watching your user research desk go completely ignored in the shared drive. You spent 3 days crafting that thing. You included quotes, insights, even heat maps. Nobody clicked it. But the marketing team's deck, titled Big Bold Vision, somehow has 42 comments and 2 rounds of applause. At 1:45, the front dev taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, I started building that new feature. I noticed some stuff looked tricky, so I made a few small changes. You look at the screen. The few small changes include removing the entire mobile navigation, changing your 12-column layout to freestyle mode, and using Comic Sans. You say nothing. You just blink. It is 2 p.m. and your brain has officially melted. Your eyes sting from staring at tiny spacing inconsistencies, and your Figma file now resembles a battlefield. You head to the kitchen to grab a coffee and find the last pod has already been claimed by Richard from sales. He gives you a wink and says, gotta feel the hustle. You consider violence, but instead grab lukewarm tap water and return to your suffering. You sit through another brutal session. This one is called a design alignment. In theory, it is where feedback flows constructively. In practice, it is where 4 non-designers argue about button color for 28 minutes while you silently wonder if anyone here has used an app since 2014. Someone suggests adding a second hamburger menu just in case, and nobody laughs because they're serious. At 3:30, you receive a Slack message that begins with super exciting opportunity. Your soul knows pain is coming. The message explains that a very important potential client is visiting the office and they want you to do a quick walkthrough of your design process. Just a little informal chat, they say. Casual. Like you're not running on rage and instant noodles. You are handed 20 minutes to prep. You wipe the existential dread off your face, throw together a quick slide deck, and are then escorted into the conference room where she is waiting. She is stunning, confident, smart. She compliments your portfolio, says she's impressed by your thought process. She actually uses the phrase user-centric and knows what it means. You feel seen. You talk about personas, flows, usability. She listens. She nods. She even laughs when you explain how you once had to redesign a checkout flow because the CEO didn't like rectangles. For a moment, you forget where you are. You forget the Slack pings, the meetings, the dev who hard-coded your design into oblivion. For one fleeting second, you think, this is it. This is the client that is going to change everything. At 4:30, the meeting ends. You return to your desk, strangely energized. Your coworkers are already whispering about how well it went. You sit back, almost proud, almost. Then at 5:10, your manager pulls you aside and says, so leadership decided we are not moving forward with that client. Too small of a budget. You stare blankly. The woman who understood your job, the only person this week who gave a damn about the user, turned away for being too small. You want to cry, but your tear ducts are busy buffering. At 6 p.m., you are finally free to leave. You walk past marketing, still debating whether the CTA should say, shop now, or get yours, and past Richard, who is now sipping whiskey from a coffee mug. You pack up your bag, realizing you accomplished almost nothing that will actually ship. Your research went unread, your designs got rewritten, your best moment got cancelled by finance. You walk out of the building and into the night. Your feet ache, your brain is static, and your motivation is somewhere buried under the 5th revision of a homepage banner no one asked for. You get home, heat up something frozen, and stare at the wall. And then, like a true professional, you open your laptop and adjust your resume, just in case. Because tomorrow, you'll wake up, head back into that same office, and try again to make something better in a place that constantly reminds you it really, truly does not care.